Hello, beautiful humans. We're going to talk about Revert today. Revert is a new lightener and brightener that was created by Cosmedix. So it's a Cosmedix product. I know they're letting you all know that the live has started. Hey, Tara. Okay, so when it comes to Revert, this is a new lightener and brightener that has been formulated by Cosmedix. It has been available over in Asia for about 2 years now. So I actually thought it was quite brilliant of them to actually try out the product in an area that tend to have higher Fitzpatrick. What I was told yesterday, I spoke with Amanda, one of the educators with Cosmedix, and she had said they specifically formulated this particular formulation for Fitzpatrick 4. So it's been over in Asia for about 2 years. They've seen excellent results with it. And so they decided to go ahead and launch it here in the United States. Every time I go to research this formulation, I get really overwhelmed because there are so many amazing actives. Like when I think I'm done Googling some ingredients, I then Google something else and I'm like, well, holy crap, that's an active too. Holy crap, that's an active too. So it's just really loaded. The other thing that I have learned about the formulation, which I think it's partly just coincidence, but a lot of the actives they use to help with the lightening and brightening and hydration and antiseptic and all those properties are also all antioxidants. So I'm realizing that this formulation is not just a lightener and brightener, it's a lightener and brightener and an antioxidant serum. So for me, antioxidants are not something I mess around with. They truly are what is going to prevent the environmental aspects of aging. I tend to use a lot of antioxidants in my skincare routine. If you're young and you're new to skincare, the first thing you should start out on, besides, like cleansing and hydration, is adding an antioxidant serum to your routine. Like when people are 21, 22, 23, 24, and they don't have acne issues, they're just wanting to use good skincare, the very first serum I'm going to put them in is an antioxidant. Antioxidants, I know a lot of people know what antioxidants are, but basically they neutralize free radicals, and free radicals are what ages the skin prematurely. It creates oxidized stress in the skin, and it makes you look old. It ages you. It's one of the reasons why you see people who are sun babies. It's not just the UVA and UV damage from the sun's rays. It's also breaking down the skin. It's also the fat. Well, yeah, it is. That's exactly what causes the oxidization stress. So not only do antioxidants protect you from UV damage, also protects you from pollution because it neutralizes the free radicals in that. So kind of your first thing you want to focus on is antioxidants. For me, this particular serum, once we get into it, it does not replace an antioxidant serum. I still will use an antioxidant serum in AM, my Brilliant CNE, which is basically also an antioxidant serum, and then also this Revert product. And then I'm still using Simply Brelin as well because I want as many skin lightening and brightening effects as I can get. And they are similar products, but they don't have any repeated ingredients. But for some people who are trying to be more cost effective with their routine, they're trying to cut back on their routine, they don't like a lot of products, I would actually put you in Revert over putting you in like Radiance or Firm, because the fact it's basically kind of like a double whammy product. It has multiple functions. So Revert comes in 2 sizes. This is what the boxes look like. Okay. I thought Cosmedix was absolutely brilliant for choosing to launch. This is the first time they've ever launched a product in 2 sizes. The bummer is the 1 ounce is plastic and it's an airless pump. So it's completely not recyclable. You absolutely have to throw it away. This is an ounce and it is $89. Both of these are available on my website. And then there is this one. This is not exactly Revert, but it's this exact same container and it's glass. So the beauty of this one is I tell people, and this one is a 0.6 ounce for $50. So I tell people if you start out with this one or want to get this one, keep it because you can refill this for travel and use it in that way. I travel with glass products all the time. I've never had a glass container break ever. Never, ever. Even in my little 5 ml sample sizes, I've never had one of those break in traveling either. So the these are the two sizes. Let's kind of introduce yourself to it. Now let's get into it, okay? So I will have to say, and this is not to speak negatively about Cosmedix in any way, but I feel like they should market this more in a little bit different ways. Like as I go through all the actives, and I did, when I talked to Amanda, she gave me percentages of some things. So like I was able to look and find studies that backed up that the levels they're using are actually therapeutic levels of things. As you know, a lot of skincare companies will put minimal amounts of things. You only have to have 1/10 of 1% of an ingredient to make claims that it's in the product and it does the things that studies have shown that it does, regardless of whether or not it's at a percentage that those studies were done with, if that's making sense to you. But so many of the ingredients are therapeutic actives, but they didn't highlight them as much on the back. So I feel like the ingredients that they highlight on the back aren't bad. It's just, I feel there were many other things that you could highlight. Like there's so many amazing things in this. I wish they actually did highlight it because they are somewhat unique. They're not a lot of ingredients and not a lot of people are using. So the biggest thing with, Revert is it actually has more tyrosinase inhibitors than Simply Brilliant, okay? So for me, lightening and brightening is extremely important. I still am using both serums. You do not have to do this. I am a product whore. I love to use products. I also sell them, so I get a good deal on them. The skincare routine that I use is I probably use a routine, like if I were to go out and buy everything in my routine at full price to start out with, my routine probably costs about $850 to $1,000. And then it would be probably about $150 a month to maintain it. $100 to $150 a month to maintain it. So I do use a lot of products. Anybody who follows me, you guys know I'm a product whore. What can I say? So for me, I still am using Simply Brilliant and Excel Plus, and then I'm layering it with Revert because of the fact that the ingredients are not repeated. The actives in this serum are not the same actives in this serum. And the other thing is that this does have 5% niacinamide in it. And niacinamide is absolutely essential to anti-aging health. You know, it used to be all the focus was on retinol, and vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C. Even though I haven't seen any studies that show that niacinamide makes changes on a cellular level, like A and C can, it is absolutely essential to skin health. And you want about 5% on your skin a day. And that is in this formulation, not this one. The biggest thing I'd say the differences are is just that this is older. This is just older. And a ton of this came out like 10 years ago. Yeah, this product came out like 10 or 11 years ago. So since then, we have come across a ton more lightener and brightener actives and have done a lot more studies on lightener and brightener actives. So we have found another treasure trove of ingredients. It doesn't mean that this product is no longer valid. It just means that instead of reformulating these, why not just make another product? I mean, honestly, that's what I would have done. I thought they were smart doing it this way. For some people, they may like this one better. For some people, they may like this one better. This one does have salicylic acid in it. This one does not. So people who have a salicylic acid allergy, Revert would be better for them. They're both pregnancy safe. Revert is absolutely pregnancy safe. This one has more tyrosinase inhibitors though. These ones has 3. This one, I think I started counting. I didn't research every ingredient, but I was already up to like 5 or 6 by the time I kind of stopped counting them. So this is the benefits. So if you were only to own one, so these are the 3 lighteners and brighteners that Cosmedix makes. They are plant-based products. I always use serums from forehead down to the top of my, where my boobs start. Normally I tell people from like hairline to nips, but like my nipples are kind of down here and I got biggie boobs. So I tend to kind of stop my serums like right here, okay? So when using these, it's 3 pumps. When using this guy, it's 1 pump. These are Simply Brilliant is 66 and Excel Plus is 78. This is the nighttime formula, daytime formula. So they're somewhat, and this is 90. So they're price-wise, they're somewhat similar. They're a little bit different, but not too much. But if you were to only buy one serum, one of them, I would get Revert and use it AM and PM, okay? If you were to get 2, I would get Revert and Excel Plus. this and I would use this AM, and I would use both of these PM. If you got the 3, I'd get these guys. I guess we're only talking about 3. And I would use this one AM with this one, and then this one PM with this one. So that's kind of how I've been directing my clients to utilize them and get them in your routine. I will go ahead and answer questions at the very end. When I start jumping in and answering the questions, I completely lose track, so I gotta focus. But I will come back to that question. So let's talk about the actives. It does have hexylresorcinol in it. And hexylresorcinol is an ingredient that they have discovered, not only is it like anti-inflammatory and antiseptic, it's been used for years in the food industry to prevent, it's an anti-browning agent. Hello. It's been used for years and years in food as an anti-browning agent. It also is a significant tyrosinase inhibitor. They've also discovered, because hexylresorcinol is a derivative from resorcinol, and resorcinol is one of the main actives in a Gesner chemical peel. So it's very antiseptic. They've shown studies that it reduces fine lines and wrinkles. And this is in regards to hexylresorcinol, not a Gesner peel. Like, this is just hexylresorcinol at 0.5%, which is the percentage that Cosmedix is using. Reduces fine lines and wrinkles, cuts, skin infections. So it's fantastic for acne. It increases UV protection, and it protects against pollution. So that is why I'm like, that's just one of the actives in here. Okay. So hexylresorcinol is a big one in the formulation. It is also very anti-inflammatory, and it works well with the higher Fitzpatrick types. They have found in studies that a 0.5% resorcinol is equivalent, if not better, than a 2% hydroquinone. Okay. Some of the next things. Okay. So that's hexylresorcinol. The next big active in here that I was stoked to see, it's actually on my list. I will eventually be formulating a lightener and brightener. I've been doing research on the actives I want to put in it. And one of the ones that is very top on my list is black tea ferment extract, which that is like one of the very first actives in this formulation. Like, in regards to the ingredient index, it goes from water, propidenol, which is a plant-based propidenol, glycerin, plant-based glycerin. It's got a derivative of macadamia nut, basically to help with like glide and schlip. And then it goes into the black tea ferment, okay? So when they did studies on black tea ferment, they did a study where they took 2% hydroquinone, and then compared it to a 1% black tea ferment extract, a 2% black tea ferment extract, and then the control group was just like propylene glycol. And they did do this, the study I read, they did this on guinea pig skin. And what they did is they created these, on a shaved guinea pig, they have spots, right? So what they did was each product, thing was put on 9 different spots of different guinea pigs. And what they did is they applied it twice a day. And the 1% they did 6 days a week, and the 2% they only did 5 days a week for some reason. And then they exposed the spots with the control, with the hydroquinone and stuff, to UV light. Like, they put them under like a UV lamp. They sat under there for like 30 minutes or an hour. So they not only were they wanting to see if it would lighten spots that weren't exposed to sun, but also like prevent spots from getting darker and things like that after they were exposed to the UV rays. And what they found out is black tea ferment actually performs significantly better than a 2% hydroquinone. The 2% black tea ferment actually did work better than the 1%. And Cosmedix put like 2.7, I think, she said. Yeah, I think the black tea ferment in this formulation is 2.6 or 2.7%. So they put a nice generous amount in there. So far we already have 2 ingredients in the formulation that are equivalent to a 2% hydroquinone or more so. It also has apple extract, which is anti-aging and smoothing. It's got geranium oil, which is very calming. Another one that clears acne, heals bruises, burns, cuts, and eczema. It's got pomegranate extract in it, which protects against environmental damage. And just so you know, I'm not telling you the science. Like, if you look at the thing, you're gonna be like, this bitch doesn't know what she's talking about. I don't see pomegranate in there. It's all the scientific stuff in here. I'm just kind of dumbing it down. It also has, this is really high on the list as well, is a daisy flower, which is the Bellis perennis extract. It is a well-known tyrosinase inhibitor. It is derived from the flowers. It's highly effective. It's twice as active as arbutin. So the two things that you see in the skincare industry a lot for lightening and brightening is hydroquinone, which is pretty toxic to the system, and then arbutin, which is actually the precursor to hydroquinone. So arbutin is kind of like the safer version of hydroquinone to use. It doesn't create the issues in the skin. I love arbutin. It's one of my favorite ingredients. And that daisy flower extract actually performs twice as good. It's twice as active as the arbutin. It also has cockadoo plum extract, which, as you know, that's in my Brilliant C&E oil. It's an antioxidant. It's a lightening agent. It's got the highest concentration of vitamin C than any other plant on the planet. It's got chia seed oil, which is it's loaded with linoleic acid, so it's extremely hydrating and moisturizing to the tissues. It's got bell pepper extract, which protects against blue light. Did you guys hear me? Protects against blue light. So that is why I feel that, like, it only makes sense that this would be a superior product because it's the new version. There's nothing wrong with these two, but this has got some good shit in it, okay? It's got the blue light extract in it, and that actually is one of the ingredients they highlight on the back was the bell pepper extract. There was one other thing. Oh, I wanted to let you know the hexylresorcinol, the hexylresorcinol is derived from rice bran and other cereal grains. The black tea ferment is from black tea. The daisy flowers is from, so basically like everything I just talked about, it's all plant derived. It's a very clean formulation. They did a beautiful job on this product. I get sent they call them seed boxes for accounts that sell a lot of the skincare. Before a product launches, they send us the product to let us check it out for a couple weeks before it launches. And with the lightener and brightener, it always takes a couple weeks to try it out, okay? You're never gonna get results immediately. I felt like this was the perfect time of year to try it out because it was still springtime going into summer. So it's hard to start a new lightener and brightener in summer because regardless of what you do to protect your skin, you are gonna get some pigment, particularly like when you're older. So if you start using a lightener or brightener in the summer and you don't really see a difference, or you see that your pigment's actually getting worse, it's not always that the lightener and brightener is not working. It's also like you're lightening it, but it's summertime, so the sun's attacking you. So the best time to actually try a new lightener and brightener is like fall, winter, beginning of spring. So the thing with these two products, Simply Brilliant Excel Plus, you will start noticing a difference in about 2 weeks. People feel a difference right away, but you start noticing the lightening and brightening aspects of it in 2 weeks, typically. Hydroquinone takes over a month. It can take up to 2 months. When I used to sell Murad, they had a hydroquinone 2% serum, and we were advised that if somebody comes in and tries to return it and they say it doesn't work, you need to tell them, FYI, hydroquinone takes a while. Sometimes you actually have to go through a bottle and a half before you actually start seeing results. Not the case with these guys, okay? With Revert, and I was still using these, okay? I didn't stop these because I needed to get a true, if I stopped these and then started this and maybe this worked just as well, I wouldn't see a difference, right? And my pigment has been getting tough. It's been hard to budge. I didn't do any chemical peels this winter because I'm naughty. And so I can only get so light with these guys. And then I started buying Even by Skin Better Science to supplement it because this has like the L-arbutin and stuff in it. But it's not as clean of a formulation. But I used it because I was like, I need the big dogs. And I was using them just like I used Revert, like these in the AM, these in the PM. So I was ecstatic when they came out with this because it's plant-based. This is not. And so now I'm back to cleaner formulations, and I actually think this one works better. Just saying. So after 3 weeks, the pigment that I have on my cheek here that I didn't think I would get any possibly lighter unless I peeled it out, it lightened. It lightened. So I am really impressed with this product. This one's, let me pull out mine. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It smells kind of like apple. People say pineapple too, but I think I just kind of get the apple from it. It's a very more thin, it's a thinner formulation, but it's kind of lotiony. So how I tend to apply it is I will put my other serums on first. I'll put my Brilliant C&E on, and then I will put Revert on as my last serum before I apply my hydrators. So I actually put these on my skin very, very first. They touch my skin immediately. And this one tends to go on last. It's kind of how I like to do it. You can do whatever you want, but it's kind of like how I like to do it. And then what were some of the other things I was going to tell you? Let me just think. I think that might have been it in regards to the lightener and brightener. So if you haven't had a chance to try it, I think you should. It actually has more antioxidant capabilities over the Simply Brilliant and the Excel Plus. I think this is going to be a #1 seller for Cosmedix. I think they did a beautiful job on it. I'm very impressed. They have even more actives in it that I didn't fully get to, but I feel like these were the ones that are going to make the biggest difference, and all the ones I spoke about. So the daisy, the cockadoo plum, the black tea ferment, and the hexyl resorcinol, they are all tyrosinase inhibitors. And it is more for like, if you are more sensitive skin, this would be the better one to use. If you have acne, it just depends. If you're like really oily acne, I'd put you in one of these or both of these. But if you have acne that tends to be like more normal, or acne that's dry, or even acne that's just slightly oily, I actually think Revert, even though it doesn't have that salicylic acid in it, because it's got the hexyl resorcinol, and there was another one that was super good for acne too. It was the geranium oil, and I think the daisy. So yeah. All right, so let's go back and look at questions real quick, because I know there's some in here. Somebody asked about tips for post-skin cancer. Please message me, because that's a whole nother conversation in itself. And I'd love to visit with you and talk with you, but I need a little bit more information. So feel free to DM me and I'll help you out, love. And then, so how do you use it with Defy? Okay, so for me, what I would do is because Defy is a lot thicker, right? Like Defy is like this, for people who are asking. So what Defy is Defy is an alpha hydroxy acid. Even though it's kind of lotiony, it's still considered a serum in the Cosmedix lineup. And I would put the Revert on first and then the Defy last. I do really pay attention to the thinnest to thickest. And when you're using all plant-based formulations, it doesn't matter as much. But if you have products in your routine that have silicone in them or petroleum, I tend to put the plant-based stuff on first. And then I put the stuff that has silicone or petroleum in it on it last, because that does create like a film or a layer on the skin that it's harder for things to get through. And so plant-based first, petroleum plastic shit later. But I would put it on underneath Defy. All right, does anybody else have any questions about the Revert that you'd like to discuss? Also, when I travel, I travel with really simple skincare. I do not take my full skincare routine. I'm actually, unless I'm going to a sunny area, I'm only taking Revert as my AM and PM lightener and brightener. If I'm going to a super sunny area, I'll take both of these and lather up AM and PM. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Oh, the other thing was the daisy flower was twice as active as arbutin, but the hexyl resorcinol they're finding can be up to like 4 times as arbutin. So there is some, like I said, I think I've talked about it enough. Do I use it 365 year long? So I think you should. If you're trying to prevent pigment, you need to use it AM and PM for the rest of your life. You need to use lightener and brighteners forever, sadly. If you're trying to be more cost effective and you don't like to have a ton of products in your skincare routine, this is the policy that I tell people when it comes to lighteners and brighteners that contain tyrosinase inhibitors. Because there are a ton of lighteners and brighteners on the market that do not have tyrosinase inhibitors. Those are the ones that always say PM use, okay? So lighteners and brighteners that you can use in the AM are always going to have tyrosinase inhibitors. So keep that in mind. What you want to do is fall through spring, like the end of spring, not quite the beginning of summer, but getting close. Use it in the PM. When you use lighteners and brighteners at night, what they're going to do is they're going to help fade and even out skin complexion that has already been imbalanced. You already have spots, you already have freckles, you already have unevenness. At nighttime, it's going to lighten and fade. When you use these types of products in the daytime, the tyrosine inhibitors, what they do is they prevent the pigment from forming in the first place. When the cells start feeling basically violated by the UV, they start producing melanin to create spots and brown areas so that the sun can't get through and create the damage in the tissues. So the tyrosinase inhibitors block that function. So that's why I think that if you are trying to be more cost effective or have a simpler routine, use Revert or Simply Brilliant in the AM for summer. And the reason why I think you should start towards the end of spring is so they start building up in the tissues. You don't want to start doing it right when it hits summer and it's hot. I want to start building up those ingredients in the tissues. And then in the fall, you can go back to the PM and adding them in the PM routine. The reason I use them both is because I want to prevent pigment from forming, and I've got shit that I got to lighten. So to me, lighteners and brighteners are absolutely necessary, AM and PM. I cannot get enough of them. If I'm going to go out like on a boat, I'm going to go float the river, I'm going to be in my garden, like if I'm going to be in the sun, I will sometimes put 2 layers of them on. Okay, so that's kind of what I think you should do forever, and ideally AM and PM, but you can also do the seasonal cycle that I just talked about. Does anybody else have any questions before I let you go? I thank you all so much for joining and your time today. This, of course, will be saved to my page, and then they also all get uploaded to YouTube, usually by Monday. My sister does it for me. All right, everyone. Have an absolutely lovely weekend. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for supporting my brand. I hope you have a chance to try the Revert. I've got both of them in stock. Light and love to you all. Mwah.